Well, I'm Austin Wilson. I'm pretty new to NPL. Just y'all, I'm really thankful to be here and meet y'all. I've heard a lot about a lot of you. And, I'm here in Jim McKnight's place.
We're here at your place.
Really appreciate. Really appreciate Jim. He has some talking points he wanted me to share with y'all real quick. So Jim says he just regrets not being able to be here, and he's currently conducting a major training exercise in Louisiana, JRTC, and for a couple weeks. So that's why he couldn't be here, but definitely wishes he could. He said he's gonna be training like crazy with 4,400 soldiers while he's over there, down there. And then just a couple things from both of us. Really, like, we're super excited to be part of the No Place Left movement in the U.S. and we just value everybody's friendship, collaboration, and wisdom and help. We are definitely eager to swarm train at any time. Just keep in mind, him and I are the only full-time guys in the No Place Left Army network right now. So sometimes that's tough with military guys to be able to get them to go places for a couple days. So Jim, also, there's 2 excellent mobilization hubs right now with proven track records at West Point and Fort Benning. We'd love to help mobilize people in those hubs. And we definitely want to just submit to everybody here as other brothers and sisters and to your direction and leadership in our lives. So really appreciate it. So I'm up at West Point right now, personally, and it's kind of a crazy story. 10 years ago, I was at our military base, newly married, and went to a whole bunch of churches, and they were just dead. And I tried to plug in. I tried to, hey, I will help, whatever. I'll start, Bible study, whatever you want me to do, like, use me. Nobody wanted to use me or my wife. We're like so excited to get involved in it. And so, got together with some of my friends at the time. In the military, you kind of all go together to certain places. Anyway, long story short, we just decided, I kind of pitched it to the group, like, hey, why don't we start a church in our house, and we'll just meet from house to house. And so that was 10 years ago. I've been doing home church ever since then. I was at West Point doing home church. It's just like traditional church, basically. I felt the Lord telling me to get out of the Army, and I got out of the Army, and I told the Lord I want to go wherever you want me. India, Africa, those were my first 2, and I felt the Lord telling me to stay at West Point. And I was like, Lord, I don't want to do that. My wife didn't want to stay there. Anyway, we continued to just labor there and didn't have any oversight or anything. Went New Horizons direction, and I knew a couple people. I knew Jim McKnight, I knew Chuck. I'd met Chuck before, and I knew a lot of navigators and stuff. But bottom line is, my church and my house got really big, and we ended up just saying, hey, I realized everybody's following me, and there was no laborers really coming out of it. And so I split the church up into 3 and had Charlie Parsons, who's now going with Team Pack, lead one, and then another guy lead another. Chuck heard about it, and I think through Charlie Parsons. Chuck says I invited him, but I never invited him. I think it was Charlie Parsons that invited him, but he heard about what was going on, and I thought he was kind of inviting himself, honestly, at the time.
Charlie says he didn't invite him either.
Really? So he did invite himself. You got a backstory?
Gotta do what you gotta do.
All right, we'll get that at the end. So anyway, praise God, Chuck and Jim and a couple others, Justin Middleton and Brett Wilson, came up to my house and just kind of swarmed us and gave us some tools. And so that was like April, May of 2016, so almost 2 years ago. Is when I just finally everything clicked with the vision of No Place Left and some of the principles of the Word and church and everything else. So that's amazing, and so here we are, 2 years in, just applying those principles to our churches at West Point, and then tying in with the Army No Place Left network. And so West Point is like a sending hub for the Army. 1,000 graduates each year go to the Army. So potential to be fully funded missionaries by the United States government every year. And then Jim McKnight is down at Fort Benning, which is just another hub for the Army. It's a training hub. It's where airborne school is, infantry and armor schools, and a lot of people come through. So Jim and I do feel called right now to be the stay team in those two hubs, because we're seeing God mobilize people out of those hubs for the Army and the nations. And so with that, we're also kind of, God's expanding our vision to just realize, man, we feel like He wants us to raise up an army of laborers for Jesus Christ from the U.S. Army for the nations. And so that's kind of an expanded vision from our 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, which is one army, one committed army of laborers with 2,020 laborers by 2020, to 30 major installations, 30 cities, and 30 UPGs, each to the 4th generation, resulting in 5,000 baptisms. It's a big goal. There's 800,000 people in the United States Army. That's a small number compared to some of y'all's numbers. We feel like we're definitely not there, but man, we're gonna keep going and see what the Lord does. So as you guys know, our Army's transient community. It's kind of a blessing in disguise, though, because like I said, we get to send out fully funded missionaries by the United States government all the time, as long as we can have them long enough to train them. Thankful for we have 2 church networks really at West Point and at Benning with church to the 3rd generation right now, and then we have 12 solid churches at major installations around the United States right now. There is one in Hawaii, so that is the United States. But so let me see here. Yeah, we're overseas. We had, you guys don't know. So praise God for that. There's 2 units in Jordan and 1 unit in Bahrain right now, just from the Army. No place left on work. So God's already just sending people from us, and that we all know that's tough. Like the vision, no place left, is really like at some point you're not needed anymore if you do it correctly, and you're always going to be starting over with people because people are going to be sent out, right? So we're definitely seeing that, and I think we all are seeing that. I think that just the thing that we are super thankful for in our network right now is just we're seeing guys in the Army share the gospel all the time. Like wherever they are, they're sharing. We actually haven't done a lot of House of Peace searches in the Army because we're training guys to do it in their right house, in their units and with their people right away. I think that's something that maybe we should grow in. So we haven't done it a lot, but just that because we're going to Oikos, we're seeing churches come out of Oikos is pretty solid. Another thing that we do midweek is A-teams. And that's where we get 2 or 3 guys from each church. We get together and we actually have like a little card, just an outline that we can go through, and we touch how you doing in the 4 fields really. And how you doing in life, and what are you struggling with sin-wise, and so that's really been helpful. And we try to share the gospel in those teams. So we'll go to a coffee shop and we'll meet and do the team, but then we'll look for someone to share with, and we do it together. It's super sharpening, and it's that second touch during the week besides meeting as a church on the weekends. What I'm really excited about West Point right now, and really thankful for is that, I got college kids that are leading churches. We have 3rd gen churches that are solid and sharing the gospel. My guys, the cadets there, are just going out sharing the gospel, and they're taking other ministry leaders, cadets, other college students that lead other ministries and help with other ministries as they go. And so that is really casting the vision for everyone else. But definitely one thing that's been helping just this semester, I started praying with the full-time ministers of the clubs on West Point, and that has been super unifying, just to pray. I got to share the 411 with all of them, and then one of them trained all his leaders in 411. Awesome. And then I've offered to train anybody they would like me to train. I'll bring some cadets and train your cadets. And so one of the other guys is trying to find a date next semester to actually have me come and train with some of my cadets for about 150 cadets. And I'm running out of time here, but I think another thing that's really neat is we have 19 kids in our home church. from the church that meets in our home, and it's a Timothy church. Praise God, it's amazing. We have their leaders; they're all leading churches, except for one couple right now that had a church die. But I would love, if you're struggling with having kids in church, I would love to help you and talk to you through that, because my wife is an amazing woman, and we have 6 kids of our own, and then with 19 kids, how do you do church with 19 kids in a small? I mean, we have kind of a smaller house. Anyway, so love to talk to you about that, because we kind of cracked a little bit of a code there. And this year, we're seeing a lot of the baptism, a lot of the people coming to know Jesus actually stay in the churches. And I think a lot of that is we actually have churches for them to go to that are solid and that are recruiting. But we're also, with millennials, really casting a hard vision of, look, if the hands and the feet, if you cut off the hands and the feet of the body, how effective are they? Not very effective if my hands and feet are cut off. How effective is the body without hands and feet? Which is a really little illustration, and it's working. Like, I'm telling these millennials, like, look, you need the body, but the body also needs you. And so just a little thing that's working with millennials right now. So, because cadets are millennials, they're not much different. So I think bottom line is really excited about, we have some solid 3rd gen churches. And by next semester, hopefully be in the 4th gen. That's in the Army too, especially down at Benning. We're seeing that. So what we really need is just more laborers. We have depth. We need some more breadth. We don't have a lot of breadth. We don't have a lot of numbers right now. But I think with that depth, we'll hopefully provide a foundation for that breadth. So definitely, I think the 2 subjects, like I said, partnership with local churches and leaders across the Army, and then also just supporting laborers geographically, because we send people, to an Army base where there's nothing, no support group, and so we're learning how to do that online, but it's not the same totally. And obviously they got to start going to the lost and kind of establish their own community, but in the interim, how do we strengthen them and keep them going?